Hello Ronlings, my little Ronlings, my little Ronnie Rollers. Today's is a double whammy. For starters, I'm in a place that I've never been to before. So what happened was I was going to go to a place that I've been to once before, because I thought I wouldn't mind going there again. And then I found out that it's evidently in a lot of use, for want of a better way of explaining it. Because before there didn't seem to be anyone there. Now there's the gate that I over is open. Clearly a tractor's been in there. Loads of firewood's been gathered up. There's no cover. A lot of trees have been knocked down, and there's no cover, and it was just not viable. So with sun's like there, with less than an hour's light going, I said just keep driving until we see something that's half decent. So we did. The missus drove. I'm like giving it all that, and I found something that might work. I'm next to when I say next to, I'm quite far from it, but close enough to a road so you could hear it. There's a field over there. I haven't even looked. I literally just said this looks alright. I jumped out. So it looks like there's some sort of field over there. There's a house there. Is that a house or a church? It looks quite big. I'll have a look later. But there's a fair bit of cover because the trees are quite close together. Yeah, being winter, it's hard. There's no leaves or anything, so it's hard to. So that's the first thing that I'm a bit about, because I've never been. Oh, there looks like a road there as well, because I can see the tops of cars. So it looks like I'm sandwiched between two roads. We don't even know the area, because I don't know the area very well that I was originally going to go to. So we just drove, and I just jumped out, and so I really don't know where I am. It's just a piece of wood, looks fairly well covered, and see how it goes. So the second thing, that's as I said, this is two sort of unusual things. First one was, I don't know where the hell I am. The second is, this was going to be a fun part, something I'm kind of looking forward to, because I don't know what's going to happen. I was in a shop called The Range. I don't know if you have that in other countries. It's just a big old hangar with like everything here, you know, home, pets, garden, all different departments. It's a huge place. And in the camping area, the shelves are quite sparsely populated, because they don't bother getting anything new in the winter. They just leave what's on the shelf from last year, and it sort of slowly dwindles away, and there isn't much in there. But I did notice this. So it is a tent integrated into a rucksack. So you put it on your back, get where you're going, and the tent's. It was £16, so very cheap. So we'll put the quality aside for a bit. So it's very cheap. I don't know what it's going to be like. This is the only picture I have. It looks very small. Looks a bit. I haven't opened it either. I wanted the fun of seeing how rubbish it is when I opened it. It looks a bit sort of OEX Fox 1-y. Doesn't look like you can sit up in it. I don't know. The scale's a bit skew with. And it's just, the idea is great. You know, you carry your bag and get where you're going, and the tent's there. But it looks like it's integrated to the tent. So it means you've got to pour everything out, I'm guessing, to open the tent. I don't know. I haven't even read the instructions. I haven't opened it. I don't know idea what I'm going to find. So that was the fun of it. I wanted to just see when I got there. So that's today's interesting camp, because I don't know what to expect. So these pet tent pegs, they are beyond. Yeah, I bought cheap tents. I haven't got a lot of money, so cheap tents happens to me quite often. But that is the thinnest and smallest peg I've ever seen. I mean, this ground is really, it's been raining for yonks. It's the UK, rains a lot. And the ground is super soft. I'm literally just pushing them in with my hand, not even my feet, and one's still bent. How is that even possible? It's just the softest ground ever. So I have brought some really good length, so long, can't remember how long, twice the thickness pegs with me, but I think the lack of wind is gonna make these passable, because there's no wind in here at all. So, but just I thought I'd have to show that, because that was like the thinnest. I mean, they're super light because there's nothing there. You know, I can literally just bend it with no effort. That's the thinnest and poorest tents pegs I can ever see. I always use the tent pegs that come with even cheap tents, because they're sufficient in the lack of extreme weather I'm going in. But that is just that's just like, it might as well have been toothpicks. Alright, so this is what we got. It's blue. All my tents are usually green. I don't usually go stuff that's blue. But I'm fairly thick in the woods. I'd hardly call it stealth. I think having 2 roads either side helps with the stealth a bit, because that implies to me the road I came off didn't have a pathway. You know, I'm in the middle of the a rural area, so it didn't have a pathway, so you didn't really have anywhere to stop. There's no lay-by, so you didn't have anywhere to stop, and there's no path for people to walk. So I don't know about that side. So I think that's sort of geographically it makes it more awkward to get here. But so from the stealth point of view, I mean, you can see over there, I'll give you a 360 though. You can see over there it's quite dense, less so that way. So, but it is very blue. But I think I haven't got in it yet. I think I could sit up in it just about. So it's not as low as I thought, and it's plenty wide enough. It's really wide. And interesting enough, I would only consider it a one-man tent. I forgot to put a guy rope in. I ran out of pegs, so there wasn't enough. So I'm one short then. If they expect me to use that guy. Anyway, I don't normally guy them out. My weather is not extreme enough. But even once I put all the floor pegs out, it's so flimsy and wobbly. I felt the need to put the guys out as well, because just to give it some more rigidity. I was worried about just sort of touching the side and it all going collapsing. But yeah, it's got 2 doors either side, interestingly. So they're trying to say it's a two-man. Could you get 2 people in there? It's quite a lot of room. I like the squareness of it. The fact it's square at the bottom, giving you sort of actual sides, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I think at a squeeze you might be able to get 2 people in there, but it'll be a mega squeeze. Having the same door either side implies to me that it's meant for 2 people, but it doesn't say that. Yellowstone, made by Yellowstone. Expedition backpack. Doesn't say 2, doesn't say 1, doesn't say anything. If we don't tell you anything, then you can't expect it to be anything. But yeah, it's really flimsy material. This material is really that is definitely not even 3000 hydrostatic. In a way I was hoping it would rain to see how much it could take, but it's a glorious day. But you know, this is the day I picked. I don't have the luxury of being able to choose when I come out. And there's the bottom of the bag. That's interesting. That's the bottom of the bag. I got a bit in a mucking fuddle about that bit, because the bag sort of, the bottom of the bag, the black bit, fell off. And I thought, oh, and I was faffing. I didn't do it on camera. I didn't want to like, as it happened, I wasn't faffing for very long, but I turned it off because I didn't want you just watching me sitting on my knees faffing with a bag for an hour. As it turned out, it wasn't that long, but I was faffing with that for a lot because it sort of fell off, and then I spent ages getting it back on again, working out how it's supposed to go back on, because you could completely unzip it, which I did, and there was multiple ways of zipping it back on. So I don't think I think you're supposed to unzip it, turn it around and zip it back on, and all the bag part of it is contained in that in that bottom section, because it's not in here anymore. You know, it's not on the inside. You can see it's just black. So it looks like you unzip it, turn it around and zip it back on again. I think that's what I did, because it just fell off and I couldn't work out how to get back on. And I got it back on and thought that's not the configuration for it to be a backpack. you know. It's not visible here. I haven't walked far. I think you might be able to see just a glimpse of blue as I get further away towards the motorway. It's not motorway. Main road. I'm quite near the main road now. I can't see it at all. Even with the naked eye, I can't see it at all. It's there somewhere. No cars are going past now, are they? To show you where the road is. I've got to admit, the reason I'm coming back, to here wasn't really to see how camouflaged I am. I've been doing this long enough to kind of know, without looking, yeah, judging by how dense the trees are and stuff, how far away I am. The reason I came back, and she's here now, is just I forgot my light. I have no way of lighting up the camp. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, so going back into the forest now, what that was about was that unusually I'm quite local to where I live. And I forgot my light. I've forgotten all my torches. I bundled them all up together because with van camps, and last time I was using a log burner to camp, I do need this, don't need that, and things tend to get spread out and put here, left there, and I put stuff with that, don't need it with that, and everything gets scattered around. So I went round and I gathered up all my torches and lamps and stuff like that, put them together, and then the intention of just grabbing them. And of course, when you put them together, you only need to forget that and you've forgotten everything, as opposed to forgetting a torch and going, that's alright, I've got a light in my bag, or vice versa. So I just, is that a lesson learned? Don't gather them all up together, because you forget that, you've forgotten everything. So I had no way of lighting up myself or my camp or my camp tonight. So my lovely partner, after expressing my irritation with that, my lovely partner said she gathered it up and just went and got it and brought it over, and that's why I just quickly rushed back to the road. And I'm pooped now. So this is for all the people that are like saying, oh, one person even said, oh, I can't have a gas stove, it's like a jumbo jet going over. And a lot of arguments about the alcohol stove is just how loud gas stoves are. Almost complete silence in the wood. Virtually melting the camera, that's how close I was. What can you hear? I'm sitting back here. These are good microphones on the GoPro. I think it's about time you change your gas gas stove if it's extremely noisy. My my Chinese one I bought was extremely noisy, even on low temperatures, and it was quite, but you know, when you sat in the woods trying to keep quiet. And this OEX one, not a sound. I mean, if you whack it up maximum, it makes a sound, but it doesn't need to be up maximum. About halfway like it is now, it's absolutely fine, because the flames will lick up the side anyway, and I don't want it doing that and melting the handle. So I had a lot of comments saying, oh, the reason they're so silent, you know, alcohol stoves are silent, but if you got a decent gas stove, they can be silent too. So that part of the argument, I'm afraid, is weak, busted. I'm a bit high up. Usually I like to give you my perspective, but I've put this tripod up and down about 100 times to do various different things, and I can't bother to do it again. So it's a bit high. It's obviously standing height. I like to usually give you my point of view, but as I said, I can't be bothered. This will have to suffice. So today's 360 in the first time I've ever been here. So it's a new 360. And here we go. It's a beauty. Woo! And there she blows, and that's what I've got today. This is the environment I'm in. It's too dark for natural light now. I haven't pumped my bed up. Everything's inside except for my rucksack. It's down here. So everything's inside except for the stuff on the table I need. Oh, that's really super hot. Yeah, so doing this actually reminds me of the early days of this channel, when I first went out camping in the OEX. I mean, I wasn't new to camping then. I used to backpack camp since I was like 6, 7, 8, whatever, can't remember, with my brother. And I used to go out there, but as you get older and you have relationships, married, kids, and then it becomes impractical to do backpacking unless you do it on your own, and you end up doing tent camping in family tents in like proper campsites and stuff. And all my equipment sort of got lost, sold, or mislaid in house moves and that over the years. And by the time I decided to do it again, you know, I was at a point where I was kind of deciding, you know what, no matter what is happening, I'm going to do this. Whereas before it was always, I won't do it because you need this, and I won't do it because of that, and I won't do it because of this circumstance, and then I just went, yeah, do you know what, I'm doing it, I don't care about anything else. But I didn't have any equipment. All my camping equipment was all family tent stuff by then, so I had to get a load of stuff together all really like super quickly, and I wanted a good quality but cheap tent, and the OEX Fox 1 did that for me until I could get something better. And it meant sitting outside no matter what the weather was, summer, winter. You know, you had to sit outside because you can't do anything inside. I did have a little pole that I used to bring with me in case I wanted to put I could put it on the corner of the door and make a little canopy, so if you sort of sat on your side, on your shoulder, on your elbow, you could cook. Never had to do that, but that was a possibility. But and that's what this reminds me of, because I don't like tents without vestibules. I won't get a tent that's got a vestibule, just don't see the point. This doesn't have a vestibule, but that was the fun of it. So what's the word? I put myself in deliberate heartache for fun, if that makes any sense, because I wanted to just do it again and experience it again, and I had no idea what I was getting when I bought this tent, and that was the fun of it. But yeah, there's no vestibule. It's just that tent. But what that tent has, on the excuse me, on the OEX is the fact that the OEX is kind of, there's a slight coffin to it. It goes out slightly, gives you a little bit of room. This one goes out a lot, we'll call it the shoulder area. It goes out a lot, and there's loads of space down each side to put all your stuff. I've not even put anything on the other side, but this side I'll put just about everything in there. I've got a rucksack, which I'll probably just either put above my head as a pillow, or I'll just put it on top of me, while I'm sleeping. My OEX, I used to bring my rucksack in and just put it on top of me while I was asleep. Didn't care about that. Yeah, but there is loads of space down each side of it, so it's it's definitely a one man. It looked like, oh, maybe you can get 2 people in there. You could without their sleeping pads. You could get 2 people in there, but once you put one sleeping pad in there, it's clear that it's a one person. Single skin, really thin, flimsy material. There is a vent in it, but suspect. But I knew it would be like that. That's, it was £16. What's that? Like $12 if it's in dollars, something like that, maybe $13, something like that. That's a rucksack and a tent. It's not going to be good. But it was just a bit of fun. I didn't even open it. I didn't even know how it worked. I just wanted to open it and go, whoop. That sums up the camp. Whoop. And that's the fun of it. And it was a double whammy tonight with not being in a place I've never been to before. I'm not worried about being super quiet because, as I said, there's roads either side, and the roads are kind of rural roads. There's no pavements or sidewalks for people to walk on, and it's kind of quite a busy main road. I wouldn't call it a motorway, but it's a busy main road. So it's unlikely. I think it's unlikely that people walk down here because it's too dangerous. It's not a proper place to walk. I think it's a guess, but as I said, I just drove. Said just go anywhere, drive down this road. And my partner went, let's just try up here. I said, turn around, go back home. And she's like, let's just try up here. She wanted to get rid of me. You are going camping tonight. I was looking forward to this time on my own, so I'm going to chuck you somewhere. So she said, let's try this, let's try that. And we ended up on this road, and I went, let me have a look at this. I jumped out, walked in 3 meters, went, that'll do. Got my stuff and came in, and it was as simple as that. I didn't have time to look around. By the time I put the tent up and did a bit of filming and put my stuff in there, and it's gone dark, and I haven't had time to look around, so I don't really know where I am. I just know because I can see the tops of cars that way, so I know there's a road that way, and I know there's a road that way because that's the way I came from. So this one's a bit of a, it's kind of exciting actually. It's a bit of a, when you go to the same place all the time, it's nice and it's peaceful. But this one had a bit of an added bit of with it, which but a nicer. Plus with the tent, that I had no idea what I was opening, what I was going to see. It made it a really fun evening. I quite enjoyed myself. Yes. So it's dark now, so everything's damp. My beard's always wet. Either that or I'm dribbling. I don't know, I'm dribbling. But anyway, so that's all I was faffing. This is the reason for dinner. On tonight's dinner, mild chicken curry by, I don't know who that is. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't read it. Just cheapy ones from a cheap store. Never tried them before, so we're going to give it a go and see what happens. Oh yeah, and some boil in the bag rice. They're quite good, they are, because I like them because obviously you boil them in the bag, but also it gives you a correct portion of rice. A portion I'm happy with, not too much, not too little, and other brands aren't necessarily happy with it, but they're Ben's, Uncle Ben's, whatever it is now, boiling the bag rice. They're really nice, I like them. So that's tonight's dinner. So you can't sit up in it. You can, but you have to sort of bend your head. I'm 5'8", and I have to get right up. My head is basically touching the tent. But I have to get right up here so I'm not touching the bottom. So for a tall person, no, I mean technically it's not really tall enough for me because I have to have my head touching the tent. It's already getting a bit damp in here. Yeah, condensation. So means I'm gonna have a lot of wet head in the morning. I'm annoyed because there's no signal here, so I can't watch any Netflix before bed or watch YouTube or whatever. So there's kind of nothing to do. Once the sun's gone down, had my dinner. The seams are taped, considering how cheap the tent is. It's very thin material though. I think it'll keep it dry though. So yeah, so it is really cramped for, I would say it's cramped for space. I mean, I've got all my stuff down here. Let's sit that way. Got all my stuff. There's my rucksack and boots and certain paraphernalia down there, and so there's loads of space. Now, you could argue that's a vestibule. Yeah, it's just inside because there's loads of space for it. I've kind of pushed myself more to the one side to give me all that space to put it on the other side. There's a few bits down behind me, but so there's space for everything, although, you know, having space for anything doesn't necessarily mean you're not cramped. Good morning. Well, I can safely say that is a horrible tent. I've noticed that, I've only just noticed now, there's a couple of tiny little poles you slot in the end to give the end rigidity, and they slipped out and the front sagged a bit. I wonder why it felt so close to my feet. So the foot end is lower now. They just slipped out. There's nothing really holding them in per se. That's why it sagged. But the inside of the wet is tent. The inside of the tent is soaking wet. Being single skin, it's soaking wet. It was dripping, and my sleeping bag's over there. It's not going to dry out in this damp day, but I took it out there to hope that it dries off. I think you see there that I hung it over a bit of wood to maybe dry off a smidge, but it's going to have to get dried properly when I get home. And it was very uncomfortable. It was, as I say, it sagged down and pushed on my feet, so I couldn't straighten my feet out. To fit in it, I was having to push myself right up to the other end, so my head was touching the wet other end, so my hair was soaking wet, my sleeping bag's soaking wet, it dripped on everything's soaking wet. So it's, I mean, I've been in a lot of tents that have got wet inside, but not like that. You know, at least there's a certain amount of, even if the tent gets wet inside, if it's double skin, at least you've got a certain amount of protection. I mean, I have had it once where it was so wet that it dripped onto the inner tent, and then the inner tent got soaked and that dripped. But that's only ever happened once. Only got that bad once. So it was an uncomfortable sleep. I didn't sleep very well. And as soon as it was light, couldn't wait to get up. So it's very early in the morning. So yeah, that was horrible. It's a horrible tent. I won't be using it again. I kind of thought that, you know, it was really cheap. I thought that would be the case. But it was just a bit of fun. Anyone a fan of The Evil Dead? So yeah, it's been a miserable night. Will you stop complaining? But I'm all packed up and ready to go. Adjustment. I'm all packed up and ready to go. I tell you what, I don't eat breakfast very much in the mornings. I mean, this is just generally not camping. I get up in the morning, and the best way I can describe it is that when I get up first thing in the morning, I just feel full up initially, and I just don't fancy it, which is a killer for work, because obviously I've got to get up. I can't wait around till I'm hungry. I've got to go to work, and normally by the time I hit first break, I'm absolutely starving. Another text message. It's good games. So I'm absolutely starving. I'll look at it in a minute. It's how rude. Yeah, so I'm absolutely starving by the time I get to work. So when I get up in the mornings, I deliberate when I'm camping whether I want something to eat. But what spurred me on is it's the fact that the weather report said it was going to rain today, very likely, and every so often I can feel a few drip drops. And I sort of thought, oh, skip dinner, skip breakfast, pack up. So I'm all packed up and ready to go. Missus is on her way, so this is going to be a short one. You're saying, thank God for that. So, to summarise the camp, yes, it was really exciting. I loved having this new toy. It was clearly a cheap novelty. I don't know what you call it, a cheap novelty thing. Yeah, it sounds great to have, oh, I've got a backpack and the tent's integrated into the backpack, but you know, that means you've got that same tent all the time and you can't choose anything else. And you know, it's just as easy to, you're not saving weight or anything, it's just as easy to put the tent you want in your backpack. So it's not something that's ever going to take off. But it was just, I've never seen it before, so it was just a funny little toy. It was very cheap, so it wasn't like it broke the bank, and I deliberately didn't open it, so I didn't know what to expect, and that was fun. It was enjoyable, it was fun. That was a great part of it, putting it up, and then for the first time seeing what it's like and what I'm getting, and being able to sort of criticize it as I open and stuff like that. I enjoyed all that part of it. I love doing stuff like that. When I went to bed, you see, for me, I can forget. I'm only going for one night. I can forget food. I can even forget water, because you're just hungry the next morning, or you're just thirsty the next morning, or that's not a big deal. You're going home anyway. It's not like I'm out for a week. And I can, oh, got a text message. Squid Games. So yeah, so I can forget various stuff, and I can get by. I can forget. I mean, the lights last night I really didn't want to go without, because then I'm plunged in darkness. The GoPro light is, you know, lucky if I get a couple of hours out of that, and then it's, you know, it's dead. So but I could have gone without it because I did say to my partner, don't worry about it, it just means I won't be able to do much filming in the dark. And she very kindly come back and gave it to me, but I could have done without it. And you can do them without almost anything for the sake of one night. That's not really a big deal. But what I'm prattling on about, what I'm leading up to, one thing I cannot do without is a good night's sleep. You know, if I've forgotten my sleeping bag, or maybe if it's the summer it's different, but if I've forgotten my sleeping pad, let's say that one, if I forget my sleeping pad and I'm lying on the floor, then for me the camp's over. I'll go home. Or if I can't go home, get it and come back in time, camp's done. Because if I can't get a good night's sleep, that is one thing I just, yeah. And I didn't get a good night's sleep, so that's for me where it changed. For me, where it became a bit of a, you know, and my camps are never, and my camps are all, but then it became a, and then when I woke up this morning, I just, as soon as it was light, I couldn't wait to get out of the tent. I was just couldn't stand it any longer, because yeah, the things I explained earlier. So it was fun up until bedtime, and then I didn't enjoy that. And I've enjoyed this morning when I'm out of the tent again. Yeah, that is one thing I cannot do without. Being warm, dry and comfortable in bed is my top priority. That is the one thing that will stop the camp. Anything else, because in the past I think I've forgot just about everything. Not in one go obviously, but over the time, I've never forgot the tent. That's one thing I've never forgot. I nearly did once, because I remember passing the room it was in. I remember passing there and just happened to glance over and saw the tent sat in the middle of the bedroom. I thought, a tent. I nearly did, but never forgot the tent. That would obviously, potentially, if I've got my shelter, maybe that wouldn't even ruin it. But yeah, anything that doesn't give me a good night's sleep, that's it, me done. So that's where it got. So it was fun up to bedtime, let's put it that way, and fun again this morning. That sums up the camp. It sums up that tent, and needless to say, never using it ever again. Anyway, so that's me done. Thanks for watching, because if you're watching me say thanks for watching, you've actually watched to the end, so that's much appreciated. And I'll obviously, this is an ongoing thing, and I'll be doing another one. I'm banging them out usually about once a week, give or take, unless something goes wrong. So I'll be expect another one in about a week. Bye bye. Time for the drone shot. Or just me holding the tripod up. Things you do while you're waiting for your missus to pick you up.